In this example, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a triangle. So I did that. It doesn't mean it's drawn to scale, but I put in the given information. The second thing you're going to do is you have to decide what are you provided. And so I'm going to go clockwise. I have a side, and an angle. Or some people may see this person and say angle, side, side. Well, we're not going to say S, so instead we say SSA. We have two sides followed by an angle. Whenever you have a situation that's an SSA, there's one of three possibilities. Either there is no triangle that exists, and we saw that in our previous example, and when that occurs, you have the sine of some angle equals a value, and this value is outside of the domain of being, it's either above 3 or, above 1 or below -1. And we saw that in the previous example. Otherwise, you have one triangle, or we even have the possibility of two triangles. So in this problem, we're going to see how does this work. So let's get started. I'm going to write down A, B, and C. They represent angles A, B, and C. And then I have little a, little b, little c. Now, I'm going to change this equal sign into an approximation sign if I have to round. Okay, here's the very first part. So I'm going to take the sine of A divided by A. And by the way, you're welcome to do the length of A over the sine of A as long as you keep that same pattern. And then let's go with the other one. Let's do sine of B over side B. And now I'm going to cross multiply. So 12.8 times the sine of 58 degrees is equal to 11.4 times the sine of B. Okay, grab that calculator. Very first thing you're going to want to do is you don't want to do all this work and then have it in the wrong mode. Please go up to mode, and we need to switch this one to degree right away. Now I'm going to take 12.8 times the sine of 58, press enter, and divide by 11.4 in this case. So this is what the sine equals to. Notice that this number is between -1 all the way up to 1. That means I know I'm going to have a triangle. Now I have to decide, so I know there's going to be a triangle. Now I have to decide, is there going to be one triangle or two triangles? Okay, let's keep going. So to solve then, so I have the sine of B equals this number on my calculator. To find this angle, we use arc sine or inverse sine. So I hit second sign, second answer. So B is this approximation, 72.21. So I'm going to come up here. B is approximately 72.21. I'm going to put a little star because I'm going to come back to that. I know for sure that A is 58 degrees, side A is 11.4, side C is 12.8. Is that correct? Did I have all this right? Did I put something down wrong here? I meant this to be 12.8. There we go. Okay, this is what I have so far. Now, how do I find out the other missing angle? Well, we go back to what you guys learned, probably even going back to middle school. We know the interior angles of a triangle have to add up to 180. So I can take 180 and I'm going to subtract the combined values of 58 plus 72.21. Remember, I rounded here, so my final answer is still going to be a rounded answer. So C is approximately 49.79. Let's figure out what side C is last. Another thing I see students doing is like, okay, when I'm going to use law of sines, should I use the A's or the B's? Hands up high if you know which one I should use right now, A's or B's. Don't have to say, just hands up high if you know. We want to use the one that's not an approximation, and I know that A is the given values. It's not approximation. This is approximately, so I'm going to say sine of 58 degrees over 11.4, let's find C, is the sine of 49.79 over side C. And I'm going to do the same thing, cross multiply. C times the sine of 58, bless you, equals 11.4 times the sine of 40, I got to make sure I see this, 49.79. Now I'm going to divide by the sine of 58, and in doing so, I'm going to figure out what side C is. So let's grab this right now. We have 11.4 times the sine of 49.79. I'm going to press equals, and then I'm going to divide by the sine of 58. So C is approximately 10.27. That's my first triangle. I know for sure I have one triangle. Now I need to test, and that's the videos I posted yesterday. I posted for you 5 videos that I asked you to watch. And so now we're going to test to see, is there a second triangle? So let's go back here to what I have. Please draw a second triangle. We have A, B, C, and I'm going to put in the given information. This may not be drawn to scale. We know this is 58, we know this is 11.4, and we know this is 12.8. We're going to go back to this first angle that I determined. And I want to know, where is the sine? We're using law of sines. So this is 72.21. Where would that be? That'd be like right here. This is 72.21. What quadrant could produce a sine value that is exactly equivalent to the sine of 72.21? Would it be quadrant 2, 3, or 4? Hands up high if you know. Chloe, can you share with me? Quadrant 2. You're right. Can you tell me why? Yeah, signs are positive up here. If I chose quadrant 3 or 4, the signs would be negative. I want the signs to be the exact same. So you should be doing this on your paper right now. I'm going to draw another angle that also goes up, 72.21. And I want to know, what is that degrees? How do I figure that out? I'm going to take 180 and subtract 72.21. Okay, 107, this is 107.79. So I'm going to test right now. Here we go. Give myself some room. Give me 1 second to plug this in before this dies on us. We've had enough technical troubles lately. Okay, here we go. Write down A, B, and C. Little a, little b, and little c. We know that this is 58 degrees. We know this is 11.4. We know that this is 12.8. And now we believe 107.79. 107.79. Why is that still a possibility? It's a possibility. Well, let's look around real quick. Let's analyze. Let's look. You ready? 58 degrees corresponds with a side of 11.4. 107.79 corresponds with 12.8. So a larger angle goes with a larger side. A smaller angle goes with a smaller side. So can we figure out what angle C is? Well, let's add this together. I have this plus 58, and if I subtract it from 108, I need to have a number that is positive. I do. So I believe C is approximately 14.21. And now I'm going to use law of sines to find side C. When would you do all of this work and determine that unfortunately it wouldn't work? I'm going to give you an example in just a second, okay? I'm going to give you an example, but let's keep going here. We have only one more step. So I have sine A, which is sine of 58 over 11.4, equals the sine of 14.21 over side C. I'm going to multiply these, and I'm just going to do a little bit of the work in my head here. So I'm going to take 11.4 times the sine of 14.21 divided by the sine of 58. That's going to give me side C. 11.4 times the sine of 14.21 divided by the sine of 58, and we get approximately 3.29. Oh, it rounds to 3.30. Okay, now we need to analyze. Smallest angle has a small side. Largest angle has a larger side. This all makes sense. I'm going to stop for just a second. And I want to make this up, completely make this up, okay? Let's say we had something like this. Okay. I'm going to completely make this up. We checked B next, and let's say we found B to be equal to, I'm making this up, 32. We found B to equal 32. And I'm checking to see if there's another triangle. Well, if this was 32, what would be the other sign? Grab a calculator, you have 10 seconds to go. What would be the other sign? If you're not grabbing a calculator, I don't think you're doing it in your mind. 108 minus 32 would be 48, correct? So when I check for a second triangle, I already know I have 70, and now I'm checking 148. Is that a possibility? Yes or no? No. Turn to the person next to you. Why can this second triangle not even exist? Why? I still need to find angle C. Why would this not exist? It's not a possibility. Because the interior angles of a triangle have to add up to what? 180. And we've already bypassed 180. So I'm going to show this to you real quick. Now, I'm saying this with absolute kindness. All of this hard work will help you learn. If your goal is to move forward, and 95% of the kids last year moved forward, so keep that in mind. I believe every single one of you can. But If you don't pass the AP exam, you take this entire class over again. Okay? 95% of the kids passed it. But you can't do something just to do it. You have to do it to understand. How many of you took time to check your answers and then go back and watch the videos? And I specifically sent you a note yesterday. I said watch 2, 3, 4, and 5. Raise your hand if you watch 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not enough for us to have 95% pass rate. Just going to be honest with you. Okay? Do what you need to do to ensure you understand it. If you're like, Miss Bradley, I didn't have time to do that. 2, 3, 4, and 5 would have taken you less than 15 minutes. Find time. Okay? You can't get where you want to go without finding time. All right. So that being said, we are now going to see, can you do